Ever felt like life just doesn't go the way you imagined, no matter how successful you look on the outside? You might think that once someone reaches fame, wealth, and recognition, their problems vanish. But that's far from the truth. Even the most famous faces in Hollywood deal with heartbreak, struggles, and moments that shake them to the core. And one of the best examples of this is Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. The name alone brings so many images to mind. A Hollywood superstar. A man who has been the crush of millions. An Oscar-winning actor. Someone who has lived in the spotlight for decades. From red carpets to blockbuster movies, his face has been everywhere. But behind that success, behind that charming smile, is a story that's far more complicated than most people realize. It's a story filled with dreams, love, fame, divorces, controversies, bans, and shocking allegations. And today, I want to share that story with you. Because once you hear what Brad has gone through, you might never look at his career, or even the idea of celebrity perfection, the same way again. Let's start from the very beginning. Brad wasn't born into the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. He came from Shawnee, Oklahoma, but grew up in Springfield, Missouri. His life was as ordinary as it gets. His dad ran a trucking company, and his mom was a school counselor. A small-town family with regular routines. But inside that small-town boy was a big dream. He wasn't satisfied with a quiet life. Something in him wanted more, something bigger, brighter, and far beyond the borders of Missouri. He actually studied journalism in college, but deep down, he knew he wasn't destined for newspapers or classrooms. Acting was pulling at him. And just like many dreamers do, he packed up and left everything behind. He drove to Los Angeles with just a few $100s in his pocket, ready to chase a dream that felt almost impossible. But of course, dreams don't just fall into your lap. When Brad first got to LA, the reality was tough. He didn't land movie roles right away. Instead, he worked odd jobs to survive. And one of those jobs? Dressing up in a chicken costume for a restaurant promotion. Yes, Brad Pitt in a giant chicken suit, standing outside trying to get people to buy fried chicken. Can you imagine? It's funny, but it's also a reminder that even the biggest stars sometimes start at the very bottom. Eventually, little opportunities started to come his way. He picked up minor television roles. Nothing huge at first, but enough to give him hope. Then, in 1991, everything changed. He landed a small part in the movie Thelma and Louise. And it wasn't just any role. It was the one that would transform him from an unknown actor to Hollywood's hottest star almost overnight. That one shirtless scene in the movie? It made headlines. People couldn't stop talking about him. Suddenly, Brad Pitt was the name on everyone's lips. From there, his career exploded. Movies like A River Runs Through It, Legends of the Fall, and Seven established him as more than just a handsome face. He was showing talent. Range. Serious acting chops. And then came Fight Club, Troy, Moneyball, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and eventually Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which finally brought him his Oscar. On screen, Brad was unstoppable. But off-screen? Things were far more complicated. Let's talk about his personal life, the part that the public couldn't stop watching. His first high-profile marriage was to Jennifer Aniston. America's sweetheart. Their marriage was like a fairy tale, at least from the outside. Two of Hollywood's biggest stars, completely adored by fans. People thought they were perfect together. But after a few years, it all came crashing down. They divorced. And hearts broke everywhere, because so many people believed in that love story. Not long after, Brad's life took another dramatic turn. He fell in love with Angelina Jolie. The two had met while filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and their chemistry was undeniable. Soon enough, they became the most talked about couple in the world. Brangelina. That nickname alone tells you how much the world was obsessed with them. Together, they adopted children, had biological kids, and built a family of 6. They traveled around the world, got involved in humanitarian causes, and seemed like the ultimate power couple. But once again, the story wasn't as perfect as it looked from the outside. After more than a decade together, Brad and Angelina's relationship ended. And it wasn't a quiet split. Their divorce quickly turned into one of the most public and painful battles in Hollywood history. The custody fights, the rumors, the accusations, it was everywhere. Angelina accused Brad of choking one of their kids during an argument on a plane. Brad denied the allegations, but the story stuck. The image of the perfect family was shattered, and Brad's reputation took a massive hit. And if that wasn't enough, Brad faced another bizarre challenge. He was banned from China. Sounds almost unreal, right? But it happened. The reason? His role in the 1997 movie 7 Years in Tibet. China considered the film politically offensive, and as a result, Brad was blacklisted. For years, he wasn't allowed to step foot in one of the world's biggest markets. Imagine being a global superstar but being locked out of a country with over 1 billion people. That's the kind of unexpected twist most fans never hear about. Through all of this, the highs of his career, the lows of his personal life, Brad kept moving forward. That's one of the most impressive things about him. He didn't let setbacks destroy him. Instead, he found ways to reinvent himself. People used to see him only as the pretty boy of Hollywood, but Brad refused to stay in that box. He pushed for deeper, more meaningful roles. He produced films. He challenged himself. And slowly, he won respect not just as a celebrity, but as one of the most talented actors of his generation. And finally, after decades of hard work, he held that golden statue in his hands. His Oscar. Proof that he wasn't just a face on a magazine cover, he was the real deal. Now, if we step back and look at his life, there's so much to learn. First, resilience. Brad's story reminds us that no matter where you start, or what obstacles life throws at you, you can push through. If Brad can go from a chicken suit on the streets of LA to an Oscar stage in Hollywood, then truly, anything is possible. Second, fame doesn't mean freedom from struggles. On the outside, Brad seemed to have it all: money, looks, love, and success. But behind the scenes, he was going through divorces, custody battles, bans, and controversies. It's proof that everyone, no matter how perfect their life looks, is dealing with battles you might not see. And third, reinvention matters. Brad could have stayed stuck in the role of Hollywood's pretty boy. He could have coasted on looks alone. But he didn't. He pushed for more. He fought for serious roles. He showed the world that he had depth. That he had talent. And that's a lesson for all of us. Don't let other people's labels define you. Don't let anyone box you in. Now I want to turn this over to you. Out of everything we've talked about, what surprised you the most about Brad Pitt's life? Was it his humble beginnings in Missouri? Was it the chicken suit job? Was it the shocking divorce and allegations? Or maybe the fact that he was banned from China? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Brad Pitt's journey, I've got another video you'll love, where we uncover another Hollywood star's struggles and triumphs. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button if this story inspired you. Share it with a friend who loves celebrity stories. And of course, subscribe so you never miss another journey into the lives of the stars you thought you knew. Because here's the truth, behind every star, there's a story. And sometimes, those stories are more human, and more relatable, than we could ever imagine.